Reverb is such an important tool in music production, but it's also one of the easiest ways to mess up your track. So today I'm going to be running you through 7 reverb mistakes which I see producers make, how you can avoid these and start using reverb a little bit more efficiently in your tracks. Of course, if you want any free music production resources like sample packs and presets, go check out that free downloads link below. The first and maybe the most common mistake is not properly understanding a reverb device and actually how it works, all the functions behind it and how it actually models real life reverbs. This is an important concept to grapple, and it makes it using reverbs so much easier and less preset based. So if you were to grab a preset on a synth, most likely you'll tweak the preset to fit with your track, and the exact same concept applies to reverbs. You should, if you're using presets, then tweak them to fit in the style of your track. So of course we all know the decay knob, and we probably know how to use the EQ or the EQ on the Ableton Reverb is over here. But if you're using the Ableton Reverb, having a good understanding of the difference between reflections and diffusions, and also the difference between this EQ over here and this one over here, and how we can use modulation in reverb to make it feel more natural, or how you can use reverb to make particular spaces that you want. This is really crucial stuff to know. It really does make your life a lot easier if you actually know at least one reverb inside and out. And I've got a video on this exact topic. It dives into Ableton Reverb, and then I talk a little bit about Valhalla Vintage Verb, going through all of the functions, every single knob, and how it actually works, how the algorithm works, so you have a deeper understanding of reverb in the first place. So this is the first mistake. You should definitely get familiar with at least one reverb. It's honestly going to make your life a lot easier. The next one is not using aux or return tracks. Now, they both have their time and their place in which you could use them both, but the general rule of thumb is if you put a reverb directly onto a track, like this one, then it's going to push that thing back in the mix. And if you put it on a aux or a return track, then it's going to maintain the integrity of that sound that you're trying to reverb, but it's going to add some reverb in the background. And like I said, there's a time and a place for both of them. I'm just going to quickly run through a few examples of where you'd use each one. So if you've got a vocal like this that you really want to be up front, then definitely use it on a return track. So I'm going to just show you the difference between using it directly on the track and using it on a return track. So this is the one that I have directly on the track.
Give me everything, make me burn inside.
And then let's toggle to the one that's on the return track now.
Give me everything, make me burn inside.
So it doesn't take away from the source sound at all, and it really maintains that vocal well. This sound, on the other hand, is one that I would want the reverb to be directly onto the track. I wouldn't want to put it on a return track for this sound. So have a listen to this. It's like an ambient sound that I want to be pushing back in the mix. So now with my Valhalla Vintage Verb, I'm just going to crank the mix a bit, the decay time up. So now it has a really lush ambience that I want, and it's just going to be sitting nicely in the background. So the next one is forgetting to EQ your reverb. So reverbs, and especially when you use it on a return track like this, just like any other track, they need to be EQ'd as well. So I'm going to be using this vocal example again. I've just grabbed an EQ and put it onto this return track behind this Valhalla Vintage Verb. I'm just going to solo this return track and have a listen. This is where it gets a lot of fun. If you're being really particular with your reverb, you can design your reverb to fit your particular vocalists, because sometimes vocalists have a little bit of resonant frequencies in particular areas, and maybe you don't want to reverb particular frequencies of your vocalists. So you can start to be surgical and cut out particular frequencies of your reverb, or just reverb it to be a little bit more natural. It's a good idea to take the low end out. Sometimes it's nice to even shelve the high end off as well, because in the real world that high end is naturally sort of shelved off anyway. So definitely remember to EQ your reverbs, especially if they're on return tracks. The next mistake is ignoring this pre-delay knob here. The pre-delay is really important to give your reverbs a sense of depth. All it's doing is it's just going to delay the sound of the reverb. So this will be easy to see. If I just chop this first word out of this vocal and put a whole bunch of pre-delay on it, you can hear what it's going to be doing. And this actually is a really good technique, especially for vocals, when you put the decay time much smaller. So we have a small room size, and then we turn the pre-delay up. It'll give it a little bit of a slapback effect and make it feel a little bit more roomy as well. So
give me everything, make me burn inside. Give me everything, give me everything, make me burn inside.
So in this case, it's working really well. I really like the delay effect on the reverb that it has here. And it's also cleaning up all the words, so that every time that this vocalist says a word, so like this little peak that's here, there's no big swell of reverb that's going to muddy up that word or that peak. And it's just going to make all of the transients of each word a little bit more clear. If we use it with a larger decay time, then it's just going to make the reverb feel like it's further away. It's going to give a larger perceived depth. So I've just had to turn on the overhead light here because I'm losing natural light outside. But let's keep this relevant to reverb mistakes and not my own mistakes, right? So the next one is really easy to do, and it's forgetting to check your reverbs in the context of other parts of your arrangement. So let's say you've designed a reverb for a dropped section, then a lot of the time when you have that same reverb in the intro section, it doesn't fit with the other elements in the intro. And that's because you've started to take other sections or other elements of your mix out, and then it becomes a lot more prominent. So I'll show you the example here. I've just put this snare through the same reverb that we have designed for this vocal earlier. So let's have a listen to this drum group. I've got a little bit of an idea here, so let's have a listen to this. And in the context of this loop, the snare drum here actually fits quite nicely. I like the feeling of like a quite a distant snare in this case. I've put a lot of reverb on it. But if I extend this snare out into the intro here, because there's a lot less elements playing, the reverb on the snare is really obvious, and there's a bit too much going on. So have a listen now. So this is a really easy fix, and all you'll need to do is automate your reverb in some way. So whether this is automating the actual reverb itself, so I could go into the reverb and configure and then click on the decay time and just make this decay time a little bit shorter in this intro section. So I could go here and show this automation and then just shorten the decay time in this intro here. So that sounds a lot better already. Another thing I can do is show the automation of the send here and just pull down the send amount. Same goes with other elements like vocals as well. It's really important to double check that your reverbs are sitting nicely in each section of your arrangement. Okay, so the next one is drowning out vocals with a bit too much reverb. And I totally understand why this one can be really common, and that's because when you use reverb, you create this really nice ambience. And when you use a big decay time, it creates a really nice space that the vocal sits in. There's a simple technique that will help with this, and that's using a gate on a reverb send. So I'm going to go grab a gate and I'm going to engage the side chain and get the side chain from the vocal. Then I'm actually going to flip this gate, put the threshold down a bit, and I'm going to go to the floor control and I'm just going to put that on something small, maybe like around about 5 or 6 decibels. So what this gate is going to be doing is actually going to reduce the amount of reverb that is being outputted when the vocal is being sung. And then the reverb is going to increase between the words where the vocal stops being sung. So that ambience from that large decay time is going to be there, but it's not going to be drowning out our vocal. So let's have a listen to this with the gate effect going on.
Give me everything, make me burn inside. Give me everything, make me come alive. Give me.
So you can hear once the vocal's being sung, then the actual reverb is decreased in volume.
Give me everything, make me burn inside. Give me everything.
And the last mistake here is not experimenting with reverb as a sound design tool. So if you haven't already, definitely go experiment with reverb. There's so much that you can get out of it. Particularly one technique that I love doing is using reverb to create sort of ambience in your track. So using something that you already have in your track and then using a really big reverb or some sort of frozen reverb effect to create an ambient pad in the background. So let's use this synth stab for an example. It sounds like this. I'm going to go grab a reverb and I'm going to be using the Ableton reverb for this one. I think I'm going to take out a little bit of the top end here. Let's just resample this into this track that we have here. So I'm going to hit record and play with this freeze button, and as well as these flat and cut controls and also this diffusion EQ as well. So So from doing this, I've created this ambient pad and I've resampled it and reversed it and put a few more effects on it. And now I have this moving ambient pad that I can use in the intro of this song. So just to do a little bit of a recap, we've understood our reverb devices a little bit more. We're starting to EQ them and put them on sends when that's appropriate. We started to use mixing techniques to clean up our reverbs and use pre-delay times and checking our reverbs in different sections of the arrangement. And all of these techniques and tips combined, this is how we start to get a more professional sounding reverb tone. So thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around. As always, I hope you've enjoyed the video today. If you have, then remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, thanks for hanging out, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.